All right. So this week, this one was hard, at least for me. It was, I had a really hard time, I guess trying to figure out where I needed to go with this. Like, it was hard to get footing, if that makes sense. What did everybody else think on this one?
I'm the same way. I'd say I was just trying to figure out, I guess, like about my action plan mostly and like the risk assessments and stuff like that. And I was like, oh goodness, how am I going to be able to get through this? So yeah, it was just also trying to figure out like where I stood, I guess.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I'll go start off with my position and we just kind of dive in. My position was in any competitive area, any advantage is taken incredibly seriously to maximize the chance of winning. If there is any easy way out, rest assured they'll be taken. As the saying goes, if there's a will, there's a way. Lance Armstrong and his team devised a process to cheat through, um, devised a process to cheat the system through doping and other performance enhancing methods. In order, in order to fix this, one must create transparency in their roles, remove one person from making all decisions, as well as increase testing and random testing to the point where any abnormal readings will be found immediately.
Nice. For me on my position, I just said that it needed to like mm, the whole entire thing of the other article, not about Lance, those like it can't even happen once. That's what should have happened when it originally started happening back in what they said like 1920 or something like that. That somebody had been doping. That they needed to cut it off right there because then as soon as you break it once, then it's just going to be broken again and again. And so then for Lance, in my position on him, it was he shouldn't have even have done it once. Like he should have just said, "Hey, I'm to this point where I'm not at my full physical potential because of what has happened with cancer and everything." And so you just call it quits at that point, which will be hard, but it's the right thing to do.
My position was that Lance Armstrong, along with other cyclists, were feeling the pressure of winning. So they were all taking basically a dope session. They were all doing dope, of course. Cyclists that help out the leaders were also feeling it too. In order for them to win, they had to take the medicine. If they didn't, they wouldn't win, and they had to be very secretive, which was also a bad thing.
For me, I wanted to add that the fact that you always want to win, um, you have the good sensation into yourself to want yourself to win, but unfortunately, sometimes people don't know how to handle this excitation in the right hand because they had to take medicine for that, but they didn't know that this adrenaline that you feel in your vein, in your blood, you can you can work with it to do more things, like things which are very tough for others. They they don't know how to handle this kind of stuff right. And the only thing that they can do it is to search for help.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So for situation analysis, I put through an extensive doping conspiracy. Lance Armstrong and his teammates participated in transfusions, treatments, and banned substances to achieve great victories, including Lance Armstrong's world record 7 consecutive Tour de France wins. Armstrong was given a chance to lead the USPS men's cycling team in 1998 and controlled everything from the team rider, directors, doctors, and additional support staff. This control also allowed Armstrong and his associates to hide his and his team's doping and allow him to collect annual earnings of $28 million. The desire to win races, for Armstrong to prove himself, and for increased revenue drove a scandal deep into the heart of bicycle racing. Then I'll go ahead and loop my objectives and goals into this. Actually, no, I'll wait for situation analysis. I don't know. You guys can include whatever you want in yours. That was my situational analysis.
Thanks. For me, it was that they did it once, so it just became a part of the game. And then they all felt like they had to level the playing field. And so it just became a never-ending thing, like where they said there were, out of the 21 people, there were 20. I could be wrong. I think it was 21, and then only one person didn't do it out of the top 21 people or something like that. And so it just became the normal, and the normal should never be cheating. And then for my goals, it was just that you would have them never do it once, and that if they did, then they would just be banned. Like it would be a no allowed rule for it. And then my second one was just that they would outline their objectives of what they wanted to become, so they would be able to stick with their goals and actually do them.
I put down that they were basically exhausted, and so kind of like what Strant was saying, how it was like a never-ending cycle. Like they'd get exhausted, they were tired, their muscles were getting tired. Armstrong just came back from having cancer, and he just jumped right back into it. So he had to like basically build up his game before he started, or before like every game, before every event. And then that's when, of course, his team also was part of it. And it was just like a never ending cycle. Like, even though they were tired, they just take it so that way they got the energy they needed. Their muscles weren't getting tired, and just like kind of just all over the place so they could win races and stuff.
In my position, I put was like a very sad uh, part of the sport, because he cheated on the competitions, and his group or his teammates don't change his mind or advise him, but was like a part of the cheating. So I put something with that, and after that, maybe not in that time, but after, with the time, we can live with that in our mind. So I put something with that.
For me, I can say that I remember when I was a teenager and I studied physics as a subject, and I remember that I studied the chapter which spoke about the elongation, and when you take the race and you use some pills to boost your adrenaline, and this kind of elongation after that will have bad issues on yourself, because when you are not in the race and you are on pause, or I don't know, whatever, it the pills will reflect on your blood system and in your brain and in your muscles too. So it's why all pills should be recommended only by doctors, but unfortunately, we see those pills on the black market, and we cannot do big things for that except to choose to not take them.
Excuse me. I also put just the same thing of what you guys did. one person's ambitious and eagerness to win impacted the overall team because of the peer pressure. Tagging along what Fabio also said about this also comes from the pressure from higher up, because there was pressure that if they weren't performing that they would threaten to shorten their pay or to be off the team. And with that type of pressure, you're going to want to do whatever you possibly can to perform, or else your pay is going to get cut, or you're going to lose your job. That's what I put.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So I'll include my objectives and goals and action plan in the same one. I think they go hand in hand. So for objectives and goals, number 1, I put create transparency in team roles, including checks and balances between leadership, doctors, and teammates. And 2, increase testing procedures to include non-competitive seasons and increase testing and scrutiny around positive tests. For my action plan, I put remove athletes from the role of picking team members, doctors, and coaching staff. Have anyone wishing to be involved with the race team be screened by outside organizations. And for 2, I put have a set procedure in place for all athletes on strict schedules. Failure to appear for a test should be considered a fail, and the athlete will not compete until they can prove consecutive random tests that are clean, develop tests that include sensitivity to microdosing.
Nice. I feel like I kind of already went over what my goals and action plans were for it. Just making sure that they all want to be true to themselves, because then if everybody's on the same page that they're not gonna cheat, then everybody would feel like, hey, if I am cheating, then I am gonna get the competitive advantage. And so then it would just show itself in their performance, and then it would be like, hey, that person's doping. So it would make it a lot easier.
For my objectives and goals and the action plan, I just put down basically like if they're being exhausted, or if their muscles are starting to hurt, or if they're thinking about taking the drugs. With the being exhausted, I just said that there are 2 days, I believe they said, that's resting on the journey. And so it's like, just do as they say with the itinerary, just sleep all day or whatever you need to do. Don't try to over push yourself or anything like that. With the cycling all day, running, swimming, whatever, rest the muscles. Go to the hotel, go take a nice ice bath or soothe the muscles, go talk to a sport medicine person. They'll be able to help you as well. And then if you're thinking of taking the drugs, don't. There is no winning. I'd probably, they won't be there to help with the aches and pains anymore. It will just be there for satisfaction, which is not really the purpose of those. And then the action plan, I just put down that there should be a doctor for each, like a doctor, sport therapist, personal trainer, yoga instructor, anybody like that to kind of help them out with that. And basically each team would get a doctor, sport therapist, personal trainer, yoga instructor, whatever they needed. And then that way they can listen to them and get the help that they need, so that way they don't go straight to those drugs. And also, I think being accountable to your teammates will also be helpful. Maybe have a buddy system so no one is left alone, and make sure that no one is using the drugs. Also being accountable to the tour or to the event is also there as well. It would be helpful. Then that way there aren't any chances that people can take drugs because there are so many people around. And just, yeah.
doctors should uh, doctors should always
Well, I put something in my goals on the action plan. I put like improving the morality. Um, and also I put something with the get a better routine with the exercise. So with the morality is like check the the team and all the people that was involucrated in that case. Also uh, get a like a punishment to don't do the right things. Um, like get fired for that. So because it's a really important thing. The second part I put in the get a better routine, like uh, look in the exercise that they are doing, the diet, also their sleep time. So put those things.
For objective and goals, I just put have everybody aligned on the same goal, not just to win, but in the aspect on how to be an effective group legally. Each member of the group creates a list of their opportunities and strengths. Once the list is created, they will come together to create a plan on how that person will improve on their opportunity. Once individual goals have been created, they will come together and go over the function of each part of the collective group for the cyclist and how they can improve, continual follow-ups and encouragement. Testing will be done every 2 weeks. Action plan. Everyone will meet as a group to discuss each function as a team and write down each individual opportunity and strengths. That will coordinate to the overall success of the overall team. Progress meetings will be done every 3 weeks. 1%. Sorry. But yeah, that was mine. Sorry.
All right. So for evidence and risk assessment, for evidence, I put transparency goes hand in hand with vulnerability and humility. While it is easy for leaders to celebrate their success, it can be harder to admit when you didn't do things perfectly. Having a culture that allows individuals that slip up to have a chance to come forward and allow growth, and a mindset that states that doping is not tolerated, while also admitting human error in the sport that has major issues and allows for growth. The second thing for evidence I put is in a setting with random drug testing present, some 16% of students subjected to drug tested reporting substances in their district's testing in the past 30 days compared to 22% of comparable students without drug testing programs. This shows there's a clear distinction that even the presence of testing will help bring the dope usage down across the board. For risk assessments, I put there's a risk of loss of control of the team and its performance due to changes in how leadership can be changed. Certain athletes at the highest level may feel inhibited by the new rules and lack of ability to choose for themselves what people are involved around them. This can be mitigated by showing athletes with the proper channels for addictions to use the team in an open and honest communication between them and the teams and the panels approving new hires to ensure that everything has a clear and legitimate reason. And the second risk I have is others may feel inhibited by a random test in their daily life and interruptions that it could cause. This can be mitigated by the drug team being accommodating to the fact that international athletes, as well as working with teams with their travels, including personal vacations, knowing the athletes and where they will be and being close to them will enable the test to happen routinely and quickly as to not interfere too intrusively in the athlete's life while still being effective.
Nice. For me, on my evidence, I had just done some resources that talked about how, like, if you break your own habit or if you do it once, then it won't, like, you're not going to be able to come back from it, basically. And then the other one talked about accountability and how they had to be accountable to themselves and then have a person they could be accountable to. And it would help their rate of success go up a lot of being able to stay away from that stuff.
For my evidence, it stated that codeine and tramadol, which were the two biggest drugs that were taken, it says that the highest consumption or the maximum consumption was actually found in cycling, which is 65%, followed by triathlons, 8%, and rowing, which is 6%. It said in conclusion, there is an urgent need to conduct clinical trials on use of opioid medications for pain, such as codeine and tramadol, in men and women under exercise conditions. Understanding how certain possibly gender-based risk factors contribute to pain experience in the sport area may be an important step toward lowering the prevalence of the abuse. So basically, it was just stating like how I guess like they need to figure out, I guess, like how the drug takes effect on everybody. Also, in the risk assessment, I just stated that that the cyclists just need to go talk to a doctor or a sports therapist, or like just try to like basically keep themselves in check and everything. If they don't want to, then they need to talk to someone like a teammate or someone that they trust. And if they don't want to do that, then they will have to sit out for a few days and just watch their team go do the race. And then they will have to talk to their teammate when they're ready at that point after those 2 days or a few days. And hopefully they won't be able to do it again. If they do it, then they'll just do it right back again. And if it eventually happens after 2 times, I think I put down that they should be disqualified from the event.
Well, I put in the evidence. Mm, well, okay. Be clear with the marketing, in the team. So with everyone there, because it's a really important part of the case that the morality was there, and the people don't do the right thing. So, and doing the bad thing is not coming good things or the results. Maybe it's like a temporary, but not the final result. So we can know that. With the risk example for that, I put that maybe the people feel like it's exaggerated to get like methods or other things to don't do the right things, but the people need to understand that it's a really important part. Be clear with everything, doing the good things. So also the second one, I put something similar with the team, the communication. So they need to talk with everyone, explain all the things for maybe the new teammates. They need to like explication all the things. Maybe there is assessment that if the people don't like to have their things like supervised, but they need to check and watching the things because bad things occurring all the time. So an incident. So when everyone wants to win, so they need to check that. Don't like get problems with get problems with that.
For me, in my action plan, um I wrote that each athlete should have one psychologist on them because of their mental states before each game, and they should use machine to compare normal performance to those who are under the influence of dope, to help them to control themselves and to talk about their issues when they have too much pressure. They should control themselves by talking to their family and to talk with their psychologist. And as an evidence, I would that this plan will work because 70% or at 70% that will help athletes to control themselves and build an healthy motivation and to not rely on stimulant to stay awake or boost their skills. And as a risk assessment, I would that they can use their own popularity to motivate others to do good things by themselves too, and to not taking drugs because sometimes it can be too late. And for the another point, I would that they can create a zone of confidence and mentor the younger ones on their experiences in order to motivate them not to make the mistakes as the older ones.
For me, I'm just gonna give a high level overview of it, but basically, I put some information from the dysfunction book about overcoming the need to be overcome our need to be invulnerable, and that it's important to be vulnerable with our team. That will help us build trust. Also wrote some evidence from an article that I read about about how individual goals help the overall team and the overall objective of the team. And then for the risk assessment, I put for the risk, I just put like for a person who's not wanting to get better, like just not even wanting to try at all. After a few months, they will be let go of the team, which is a huge difference from somebody who is trying but just not being able to improve too much. So if they don't improve on areas that they are trying to work on with their goal, then they'll just be put on a standby team and work with an individual trainer to help them achieve their goals. Risk as well, if they continue to use any kind of substance, they will it's automatic removal from the team.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Is there anything else before I stop the recording?
I'm good.
All right, I'll go ahead and cut it.